welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to me, True Blue Thai here in Thailand. So come to Bali Mai. Hope you're doing well. How are you doing? How's life? How's things? Where you are in the world? And yeah, welcome to Thailand. And well, it's here. It's everywhere, really. Anyway, so how are you doing today? How are you doing? It's one Ankan. Yeah, one Ankan. Tuesday, one Ankan. 1st of April Fool's Day. Yeah, so Putigayong. I think it's Putigayong in Thai. I think it is. I got it wrong this morning. That's driving me mad. Makalakom, Kompa Pan, Minakom, Putigayong. I think that was it. January, February, March, April. I can get everyone. I can get Galagarakom. That's my July. That's my birthday time. Yeah. Anyway, so I forgot Colin. We had a bit of rain yesterday, and Colin fell down, and so I was a bit I made him. He fell onto the ship, so he fell down on the ship, etc., and I had to repair the ship. So so I was not happy about that, and it's got a bit of anything. Anyway, anyway. So we're celebrating, or still celebrating, regardless, and I don't care. With the win over Bournemouth, and we're analysing it. And there's been a bit of news as well, regarding Erling, and we'll start with that. Let's start with that, and then we'll go talk about what to talk about today. Because I want to talk about mental. Your mental health, mental, more than anything else. But let's start with Erling. Now, it appears that, for instance, he's suffered an ankle injury. Now, people say he was left on crutches. Now, he was left on crutches to support his left ankle. Now, again, for instance, I know because I have my sisters, my brother, me, what have been in the medical position a lot of times. And the amount of time people don't use crutches properly, for instance, and Erling was definitely walking rather than actually walking onto the coach more than anything else when he came out, rather than actually using the crutches to support his ankle. His ankle was in a boot, so for instance, and those boots are quite steady, so it'll keep his ankle steady enough. While he's on. Now, let me just go through the statement. Manchester can confirm that Erling Haaland has suffered an injury to his left ankle. The Norwegian striker sustained the injury during the FA Cup quarter-final victory away at AFC Bournemouth. Erling underwent an initial test in Manchester on Monday. On Monday, and will now seek a specialist consultation to confirm the full extent of the injury. Assessment remain ongoing to ascertain a full prognosis. The expectation is that Erling will be fit in time to play further part in the remainder of the season, including the summer FIFA World Cup. Now, that's that. Now, I've just seen on LB's website, and he's just done it. He did a thing. Haaland out for the season. When I first woke up, etc., and I saw that, because I knew that he was having a chat with Hugh, and I like the chats together. And to see that, and I thought, what the hell? And I've just come on, and then I'm like, only find out that, for instance, he's going off in the statement. So, and then he was asked this guy called Amos, etc., and he's going, yeah, well, I don't think he'll be in for the season. Are you a doctor? No, you're not. So don't come out with your bullshit. So he's not out for the season. He's out for maybe a couple of weeks. As a person, all right, I'll tell you right now, for instance, I am a runner, right? I have run this morning. Okay, this is 1 o'clock this afternoon here in Thailand. I've run all the way down to Sukhumvit Road, all the way down to down Second Road, all the way across Second Road through a condo building, etc., on the Beach Road, all the way down to the fishing boats at the beach. Jumped onto the beach, ran up halfway up the beach, went for a swim. Okay, came out. Ran back onto the beach road, all the way down towards the fishing boats again, and and a bit further down, where it did 2 sprints. Ran all the way back, okay, and then ran all the way up to a hill, which was progressively hill, all the way up to Talad. Talad is the Lotus, which is the supermarket and the market. Talad market, Lotus. right? And that's what I did. What's the goal? Now that is not my normal run. I was doing it because I wanted to combine a run with for instance, shop. I was going shopping as well. Right. So okay. So now, for instance, and the reason why I'm selling this is because I've been running in Thailand now for a good 3 years. Prior to that, I didn't run for a while, and the reason why I didn't run for a while because I had left ankle ligament injury damage. And what happened was I was training for a marathon in the United Kingdom, and when I was living in the United Kingdom, and for instance, I went over my ankle pretty badly, and I had it in a cast all the way up to here, right? I then, for instance, because I was training for a marathon and I wanted to go out with a girl, and it was me and these girls, all the boys all the guys in the office were all trying to get to go out with this girl. And so, for instance, and I thought I was in the running when I said I was, and she, ooh, you're going to run the marathon? Yeah, I said, yeah, and I'm going, so, and then when she realised I wasn't going to go for the marathon because I've done my ankle damage, she looks at me like, like it was a piece of poo. So anyway, I then took cut off the cast. I was supposed to have it on for 6 months. I cut it off, and for instance, I bandaged my ankle up, and then and ran the marathon. It was the London Marathon, and for instance, and then what happened is the ankle, and what your ankle is, your bone, gets supported by ligaments, and then when your ligaments, etc., it gets anyway, so for instance, when I ran the marathon, I did do it, and it was massively painful. I ran the London Marathon, for instance, and I got my medal, and then I had to drive all the way back from London, all the way back to Manchester the same night as well. So, for instance, and then went to work on the next day, which is the Monday. So, for instance, and continued. So, right, why am I saying this? Well, it's because, quite honestly, because of what I didn't do is to keep my down, my ankle was so if you don't roll bone, it's ligaments, right? If your ligaments need to fuse back together, or they become inflamed. The reason why they first in this they probably do is you got to wait until the to calm down. So he's ice packs in and things like that to calm the ligament down. You can see how bad the ligament are for me, and that is what he's got. Now for me, when I'm running in Thailand, for instance, I have terrible roads, especially pavements, sidewalks, or what you want to call them. They're shocking in Thailand. What happens is you ankle and ankle's perfect. And I was really, really lucky that I could run again. But my ankle's still not perfect. My ligaments are still not together, and that, for instance, supporting the ankle, for instance. And a lot of times when I used to run with the tube on. I used to twist, trying to heal. These mine around over a year. So I expect that ligament damage. I expect he'll be back between 2 to 4 weeks. This in season, right? You click back. I actually sent a message said, "Don't do it." It's a click. Honestly, he's out for the season. Oh, he'll return. Blah blah. I think that's a terrible thing to do. And I've got to call out. I called him out on that and click back and said, "Slice, but crap." Reunited because he got the City Salford derby coming up next on the weekend. They're going to be going on. Haaland's out. And what's it called? And what you want to do is to feed that fire, feed that fire. Yeah, thanks, mate. Cheers. Good one. Well, we got a bit of news on the result, and then suddenly, for instance, I mean, let's go back to thanks. Great, super, brilliant. So, for instance, just drives me mad. Sorry, I mean, get upset. Another thing I'm happy that, for instance, because when I was listening to player ratings, people are now, Johnny on Typical City actually called it out, and he said people are on autopilot. And I think it's all down to it's the fact people, I don't know when I talk about mentality, you got to stand away from things. You cannot be like everybody else. You've got to use your mind. I know it's, stand away from everybody and and no, I don't agree with that, or whatever, or something like that. And you might get, because the people go for the crowd. You got the different pieces of people in the world. You got sheep and the sheepdogs, right? And if you want to be a sheep and follow the crowd and not have an opinion of yourself and just go flow with it, that's fine. It's not at all. But the fact is, you're going to believe everything. What's it called? Just because the minority believes it, right? So the reason why I'm saying this because is that, for instance, when having with Kevin De Bruyne, when people came out and typical City saying things, when he gave us the headline. Now maybe I actually criticised myself because honestly, because I've actually kind of immune to the fact that and saying maybe I'm right. So when the team sheet came out, I've kind of I've said I'm not happy with the team sheet because Nico Gonzalez was not playing, for instance, and Mamouche wasn't playing, so I wasn't happy with the starting lineup. So and typical City said the same thing, and he put held his hand up and saying the same thing, and I will put my hand up and say the same thing. The thing is, these guys who got over the line and now got us over on against both. It was like the whole city, the city of what we come to know and love. This was it, and the players were standing out, and there was I was watching a game, for instance, and there was a guy who talking. It was the tacticians who were going through tacticians because I thought the likes of Ilkay and Kevin. I thought you've got to give it the credit, right? Phil Foden didn't play well, so I'm not going to say he did, right? But Ilkay Gundogan and Kevin De Bruyne played, and these guys, for instance, they were really knackered after, because when I saw Kevin Gundogan and his haunches, because he was shit. Oh, the fact is, I listen to player ratings have a lot of score their stats. Doing 5, 6, in 6. I thought it was a 7.58. Why am I missing? The reason why is because used see again what's typical. He said everybody's on autopilot, and I'll play. Let me listen. Let me play this because this is review. If it comes on. Yeah. Hope you can hear that. Hope you can hear it.
To do a lot of things in this starting 11 for Manchester City. Gundo, I think played really well. Some people disagree with that. Give two shits. Kept things ticking really well. Pulled some strings very well. I thought he was close to everything that was positive for Manchester City yesterday. I thought he was involved. He was at the heart of most things that were positive. I felt like yesterday, and I thought he hit the post as well, which was unlucky not himself in that situation. And I actually think he's been playing for a few months now. Gundogan not hitting the heights. I don't think he's 9 out of 10 player for all season really. But I do think he's been very steady at that 7 out of 10. So I think he's been steadily keeping things in that midfield. And I do think people are autopilot fans. We need to be known as now the people who just can't change their tune. And I think they need to with Gundogan because I thought he played really well yesterday. Kovicic again. I thought he played well alongside Gundogan.
But he goes on to saying that. I hope you can hear that. But he was going on to say that. And he's saying people. Because people got in their brains now that, for instance, Gundogan is too old. Kevin De Bruyne has passed it. For instance, he can't do anything for all. Kovicic should be gone, blah, blah, blah. For instance, Bernardo Silva's too old. I love the fact Bernardo's now come out and said, talk about his statement regarding himself, and calling people have been saying that you're too old. Yeah, there you go. Bernardo Silva, squad, you're being too old. Tell me which player, give me names, that's people that don't understand the game. I'm 30, Matteo Kovicic is 30. You're not talking about guys who are 36. We have 6 or 4 bad mums out of nowhere, and we're old, and it's not good enough. In the last season, won 6 Premier League, out of 4 bad and 4 bad mums were old. I'm asking you who asked me the question. So I said, who don't understand, who never played the game, who never understood football. He's right. I believe that. You know, what's it called? You had things like Vardy, for instance. Vardy, you know, was scoring goals at his age. How old is he? People have actually come into the narrative now. What's it called? Oh, too old, too old, too old. Someone starts it, and it's like a touch paper, lit and put. Shh. Okay, and now suddenly he's too old. Everybody's too old. Sorry, yeah, just looking at the time. But yeah, he's too old. He's too old. He's not. You know, just having a season, right? For many reasons, injury, massive issue. What's it called? And people getting key different, you know, and it still continues. Erling Haaland, another injury, for instance, yeah. And so, of course, and yes, and we try to freshen up the squad, bring in new players we needed, you know, to bring in. You know, but the fact is that still the players who we can still rely on can do the job. Why have they not done the job? Well, that's 1,000 other reasons why. But they're automatically criticise them, say they're too old, too old, too old. It's like it's just a kind of, it's not thinking for you. It's like you're like going with the sheep. You heard one said it, everybody else is jumping back, and you're doing the same thing. It's just exactly the same as like the 115 bullshit. It's all the same. It's the fact that, for instance, someone said it. You know, when someone said, "Oh, Man City's going to get relegated," everybody's saying it now. Man City's going to. So when you're seeing MCFC lads on the overlap talking about, for instance, you know, Ken and Carragher. Smugness turned around to her and said, I said, you still believe that Man City are going to get are innocent? He said, yeah. And the shock on their faces is terrible. You know, because quite honestly, everybody's got in the brains now because they've been fed by the media the crap, the puke, the crook, the whatever. Man City are guilty, Man City are guilty, 115, Man City are guilty, 115. You know, it's just the fact that, for instance, now people massively believe it, even though they see evidence or whatever, they haven't seen anything. But they've still got it in their minds because they've listened to the media crap, they listen to ex-players, and they're saying it because of their agenda. The Nevilles and the Carragers and the cartel, they've got their own agenda, so they'll duke it out. You know, so you know, and so City are guilty. It's like, you know, you could talk about the post office and the post office people. For instance, if you look at that scandal, and everybody thought the post office people were guilty. Oh no, it can't be a computer. Oh no, it's got to be you. You know, you can't be this person. You've got to look at, and I'm sorry, people should stop looking at Gundo, Kevin De Bruyne, Kovicic, and Bernardo Silva as bad players or old players. You know, and like, oh, we need to run him and get rid of him and get some brand players in. Let's get all that brand, just like Chelsea doing. Now we get Chelsea. How Chelsea getting on? You need senior players in your squad. If we're going to transition, that's fine, transition, right? But to sit there, I think we need to stop being this team, where this fan base, for instance, where we're just slagging off players and just, you know, get some no one. It just sounds like United all over, you know. And I just don't want to do that. For instance, Bernardo and it'll do in the flag to Bernardo, because quite honestly, the tactics and the way they played, and the guy from The Sun, for instance, when I saw his programme, what he was saying was absolutely perfectly correct. Can't, you know, what's it called? And it was talking about how the fact Kevin De Bruyne moved out for once, right, moved into the middle, which brought Cook in, which left Nicola O'Reilly completely free. So Nicola O'Reilly's bombing up the Kevin De Bruyne, passes to Nicola O'Reilly, boom, then slots it over to Haaland 1-1, boom. So whatever, but it was the tactics done by Kevin De Bruyne to take the guy who was marking out the line of O'Reilly, to enable O'Reilly to do what he did and to get his praise, which he deserves. But the fact is, if it wasn't for the team and the players, whatever on the team, etc., to do what it wouldn't have happened. These players have not done it. Why has it happened all the season? Why the license, right? But to then say players is wrong. And I fully support them. I'm not being this, you know, just got to stop thinking in your mind that these players have passed it and gone. And look at it and say what we're doing. You know, what they're doing. Okay. And then bad players don't become bad players overnight. Okay. So I think, I'm sorry, you know, going through it wasn't great again. Right, fine, whatever. But you know, but you know, again, we can't just get rid of him. Oh yeah, he's past it. just like an idiot I listen to on the radio, for instance, when he plays for England. So I just urge people with skill to give these guys a break and stop looking at it. We're having a bad season, right? We've gone from massive high and we've dropped off. We still might end up top 5. I still think we're getting finished 4th, 67 points. I still think we'll win the FA Cup, and we might even have a good showing at the World Cup Champions League. That is not a falling off the cliff down, right? If falling off the cliff down, United are now. That is falling off the cliff down, right? Because they still spend the more money than City, right? But yeah. So anyway, so that's sort of I'm gonna get going. But yeah, like, subscribe, tell me everything. Am I right? Am I wrong? It's not. I've got blood, but I'm not just looking at, being City. I just do. I just believe what I believe, and I like to see things with my own eyes, and my own eyes tells me these things, and I don't want to puke out the same narrative. Just because one person's saying, you don't want to look stupid in front of the rest of everybody. And unfortunately, that's not me. And I like to look at things differently. I can say, and give my own opinion. And yeah, anyway, so I'm gonna go. So sorry from time. Let's come on. Let's unite. This is a massive important run in for the club and for the Champions League. I still think we're going to finish 4th and top 67 points. And reason because we're Manchester City. We've been here before. They've done it. T-shirt, okay, and we can do it. And so I get from Thailand. I'll speak to you tomorrow. Let's get some good news. Come on, City.